If you're looking for a smartwatch that does it all and can last longer than Apple, Google and Samsung watches, then I think the OnePlus Watch 3 is for you. So let's check it out. The watch does come in this box, which really surprised me because I was expecting it to come in a smaller box. So just serial number and so forth on there, and nothing at the bottom there. So yeah, this is the 46mm option, which may be too big for some people's wrists. However, since the launch of the OnePlus Watch 3, OnePlus also released a 43mm option, which may be suitable for some. Lifting the lid of the box, you do get the watch itself, which I have to say is beautiful. And if I just lift it out here, show you some of it. Yeah, it looks really nice. So just make sure you peel this off. This will be for obviously the watch face. Unlike the OnePlus Watch 2, the OnePlus Watch 3 has a functional and practical crown, meaning you can scroll through your notifications, apps, toggle section, etc. This watch also has a speaker, a microphone, and you get really good haptic feedback. In the left hand side compartments, you do have the quick guide and the safety guide. And I can tell you for both of these, they are in different languages. In the right compartment, you do have a Type A to Type C charging cable. And you also get the charging cradle with the Type C port there, and the watch sits on top here. Charging the OnePlus Watch is pretty quick. So one evening, when the battery was below 20%, I decided at 8 PM I was going to put it on charge using the SuperVox charger. And would you believe it? At exactly 45 or 46 minutes later, the battery on the watch was at 100%. Now some of you may not be aware, but on the back of the watch it had a spelling error. So instead of where it says made in China, it had made in China. Correction, it said made in China, which is obviously incorrect. So if you're thinking of buying the watch, have a look out for that. But thankfully, mine was spelled correctly, made in China. The watch was released back in February 2025, and I believe it retailed for around £330 brand new. And if you were even more savvy, you could have traded in an old one and got some money off there. And on top of that, OnePlus were offering a free pair of earbuds. Now, fast forward to, I think end of July 2025, that's when I purchased the OnePlus Watch 3. And I think I paid around £270 for it at the time. And I couldn't grumble because the price had dropped. Anyway, fast forward again to end of October 2025, and I think the beginning of November. That's when I'm finalizing this video and getting it ready for publishing. So I checked the price, and depending where you are in the world, the price will fluctuate. So see, when I saw that in the UK, that it had been reduced by about another £70 or so, yeah, my heart sunk a little bit, but hey, you can't have it all. But the purpose of this video is to show you the prices in case you're interested. And one small tip I'm going to give you, as I mentioned just moments ago, posting this video around end of October, beginning of November. If you're even really savvy, what you could do is wait until Black Friday, which I believe is around the end of November, say November 28th, thereabouts, or whenever the flash sales and so forth. You may even get it cheaper. Believe me, whatever price you get this watch for, it is worth it. The LTPO AMOLED display means that the watch can refresh anything from 60 Hz down to 1 Hz, depending on what you are watching. And that saves you on battery. And also, on a bright sunny day like today, you can see the watch display very clearly. One thing that really annoys me about this smartwatch, and maybe it's because I'm a content creator, so the average person will not notice. So if I go into my settings here, and then if I just scroll, I'll go to display and brightness. Look at this, you've got some useful features here, raise to wake, tap to wake, etc. But the one that really annoys me is this screen timeout. So if I tap on it, as you can see, I've got a maximum of 60 seconds. which is not ideal because when you're making a video, so like my device here in the background there, I like it to be on and it's really aesthetically pleasing. The last thing the viewer wants to see is a blank screen. So if OnePlus are watching, and maybe with a software update, they could easily change this so that we can have at least up to 5 minutes. In terms of health and fitness, the watch measures things like your heart rate, wrist temperature, blood oxygen, sleep tracking, calories burned, and ECG. Although this is not applicable in America. And for those of you who are very active in terms of sports, you have over 100 sports modes to play with. One thing I will say about this watch is that it is very much biased. Why do I say that? Because it is perfect for someone like myself who's right-handed and the watch sits on the left wrist. What I've done now is to change these settings, meaning that the watch can sit on my right wrist with the button configuration on the left ear, which is perfect for someone who is left-handed, so they can operate that easily. However, something I have noticed, which no one seemed to have picked up on, is that when you do this, if you look at the numbers on the perimeter of the watch, you'll see they're out of sync. So the 15 should be where the 45 is and vice versa. And then here should be at the top and then you have the 30 at the bottom. Look at that. They're really out of sync. And what makes it worse is that you cannot even rotate or have the option to turn this dial so that it is the right way round. That's really bizarre. So to get around this, especially if you're someone who is left-handed, I would highly recommend keeping the watch still on the right wrist. I'll just scroll up here and setting the crown to the right here. And then once you tap on that, it should just take a few seconds to make the change.
More moments later.
Now that I've made the change, so what it means is that I can still wear the watch on my right wrist and operate it with my left hand, especially as a left-handed person. However, it just requires some hand or finger gymnastics to do this. To me, it's more logical to operate it from the left-hand side here. The only good thing with this is at least now the numbers are the right way round on the perimeter of the watch. So if we go back to having the watch on my left wrist, and because I'm right-handed, look at this, I can operate the buttons from the right-hand side here. But if the buttons were on the left-hand side here, look, it would be really awkward to operate. Now, up until the point of making this video, I have had this OnePlus Watch 3 for just over 3 months now. And some people in the comments will vilify me for making a first impressions video after say 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, etc. Well, now you can see that had I made my first impressions video after say, let's say a week, I would never have discovered this and brought you this vital piece of information. You do get 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage, so plenty of room to download all your favorite apps. Main attraction for the OnePlus Watch 3 is the battery life, because it can last up to 5 days on a full charge, which is basically your Monday to Friday taken care of. And it can also last up to 16 days in the power saving mode. A quick 10-minute charge will give you 24 hours of battery life. And if you're even more savvy, you could even extend that further by turning on the power saving mode. Apple, Google, Samsung, take notes. Another really cool feature with this watch is, say for instance, it's really dark, you get home, you have your keys, but you're struggling to get the key into the keyhole. So if we just swipe down here, pull up your toggle section, just scroll a bit more, and look at this, you have a flashlight. That will really come to your aid. And if you swipe down from the top, you'll come into the toggle section. So here is your wallet, aeroplane mode, water resistance. Look at this, brightness, torch, connect earbuds, battery percentage, and bottom right there, you've got your settings wheel. And then this one here, you can choose whether you want to be in smart mode or the power saving mode. Okay, and let me just quickly show you another one here. So maybe you're like this one here. So maybe you're looking for your phone, you cannot find it. So hopefully you should hear the sound of it once I do it now. Hopefully you can hear that. So that's how you can find your phone. So that's really cool. And then if we swipe up like so, look at this, you get all your notifications, whether it's your messages or whichever apps that you want your notifications to come through. Yep, they'll come through right on here. So again, I've had no issues from that point of view. So that is the basic functions of the smartwatch. One small drawback that I have with this watch, and that is, say for instance, I'm scrolling along my tiles here and I want to tap on one of them to gather more information. So here, tap on there, fantastic, and then I just scroll along, great, yeah, I can see the weather for the next few days, planning maybe a barbecue, so it looks like Thursday is the best day to do it, excellent. Now, once I finish, what I want to do is to just tap on the crown and hopefully it will take me back to the rest of my tiles. So tap that now. But what it does, it takes me back to the home page. Now, let's say you are in any application and you do want to swipe back. So let me demonstrate that here. So let's just say, yep, I'm going into the settings menu. And just scroll up. Okay, let's say I'm in general. So what I do not want to do is to hit the crown. Otherwise, it'll take me back to the home page. I want to go back. So I just swipe back like so. So maybe that's not the section I was looking for. And then maybe I can go in here. And then I look around. Maybe what I'm looking for is not here. So again, rather than keep going back to the home page by pressing the crown, just swipe back like so. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe to the channel below. Would be like a golden ticket. And it is free to do, as my analytics are showing less than 2% of you watching are subscribed to the channel. The watch does come in two colors, such as emerald green, which is the color that I purchased, and obsidian, which is effectively black. But you can buy different colored watch straps from third-party sellers at a fraction of the cost than if you'd bought it directly from the OnePlus website. The smartwatch can detect whether you're walking or running, and you can choose to accept the tracking of your run or walk. If you choose to dismiss, that same message will pop up the same day again if you run or walk, and then you can just cancel it for the rest of the day. Now, the other thing to note is when you've completed your run or your walk, what you need to do is on the watch, just swipe to the right and then press the X, and that will cancel it, and you'll feel a vibration too. Simple. The other nice thing about this watch is that you do have Gemini, and to activate it you just need to press and hold the crown, and I'm going to ask it a question. So here we go. Hey Gemini, what's the weather like today?
In Springfield Township, it'll be partly cloudy, with a high of 73 and a low of 56. Currently, it's 70 and sunny.
And there you have it. One thing you can do on this smartwatch, and that's customize the crown and the button at the bottom. So if I just press it just once, it pulls up my app icons here. So you can have access to all your downloaded apps. Now, if by looking at these icons, you cannot tell which apps are which, not a problem. All you need to do is on the crown, scroll up like so, and look at this. It gives you the names of the apps. So much easier to identify. Yeah, this is really nice. Let me quickly take you through the O Health app. So if we go in here, at the bottom, you do have 4 tabs there. We're going to go from left to right. Okay, so here we have, look, the heart rate, sleep, 60-second health check, wrist temperature, the ECG, that's not available here in America, steps, etc. So if you just want more information, just go inside like this. you'll find a lot of useful information there. Okay, and at the top, look, I can select week, month, and I can gauge how I'm doing. Okay, and then obviously for the year. Okay, so let's go back. Let's move on to health. Again, more in terms of health insights. Okay, moving on swiftly. Fitness. It's currently on the all here. So it's a combination of my run and walk, or you can break it down even further. Again, you can then ascertain more information. So just move on from that. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these and just quickly pick some useful ones for you. So let's start with watch faces. And here, look at this. You have a plethora of watch faces. I can't remember how many there are, but I mean, just quickly flicking through, you can see there's an abundance of choice. And the beauty is that they are all free. That is one of my favorite words, free. And the other great thing with this as well is if I just scroll up, in fact, if I just go back, sorry, go back here again. Okay, going too fast for my own good. And just on the right here, if you just select those, look at that, you get sub watch faces as well. This is pretty cool. I do like this. Okay, and you can also have videos. I think the videos are just a few seconds long, but that's really nice. Okay, and I think I covered it in in a bite-sized video on my channel. So maybe how to change a watch face to that effect. So yeah, you can have like a memory. Again, really useful. Now, if you find that none of these are appeal to you, what you can do is go to the Play Store and you can download other ones as well. But bear in mind, those ones will cost you money. Once you've made your watch face selection, you can always just come onto your watch like this, press down, and you can choose from various other watch faces. And what I'm also going to do, let's just choose this one very quickly. And you can press down, select here, and you can change things like the colors, look at this, etc. This is really nice. I love the level of customization on here. Just leave it there. I just swipe along, and you can even change the complications. This is really nice. Parental control, self-explanatory. At market, that's where you go to if you want more watch faces. That'll take you to the Play Store. Tiles, self-explanatory. Now, this one I definitely want to highlight, notifications. Now, I would highly recommend making sure that you're familiar with this part here, because if for whatever reason you're not receiving your notifications, I suspect 90% of the time it's because something on here has not been enabled. So go through these with a fine-tooth comb. I have covered this in a separate video. So again, just take the time to go through it. Don't panic, because I panicked when my notifications were not coming through. But when I came in here and I went through these diligently, and then I went, aha, especially the titles, whether if your watch is due to receive notifications or whether you're wearing it or not can make a big difference as to whether you receive your notifications. Again, really important. And then if I just go to more here, I'll show you something really cool. You can just say you've got more information here. And if you look right there, it says take screenshot. Okay, so you can take a screenshot of what's on your watch. Okay, and if I just go back here and just leave this to one side, and if I just select it here, obviously just so you can quickly see, yep, so basically I can take a screenshot just by tapping that button. So what I'm going to do, if you can see this, so I wanted to take a screenshot of this. Oops. Okay, tap that. Take a screen. Look at that. You see that? Brilliant. That has taken a screenshot. Again, I have covered this in a separate video. I really like that. Yeah, really good. And then look, it tells you that it's basically will save to your photos.
It does come with military grade certification for durability and can withstand submersion for up to 50 meters, but not recommended for deep sea diving, hot showers, saunas or hot springs. The watch has an IP68 dust and water resistant rating. Really, you can use it in general use. So for example, let's say you're out and about, it's raining, or you're at home just generally maybe washing the dishes, or you decide to go for a swim. Not a problem. One thing that has certainly happened to me in the just over 3 months that I've had this OnePlus Watch 3, and it's to do with the watch strap here. It may or may not happen to you, but that's the purpose of these reviews. So basically, I think after 2 months of using this watch, I decided that, I'm going to practice taking off the watch strap and putting it back on. And I did make a video on it, because it's always easy when you know how, but when you first change these watch straps, they can be a little bit difficult. So I took it off, both of these straps, then I put them back on. And that's when the problem began, because here, the bottom one stays on, but if you look here, look, top one just comes off so easily. I cannot tell you how frustrating it was trying to put it back on. I tried everything, but it just kept coming off, and only this shorter one at the top here. Now, when I put on this watch strap here, which I bought from Amazon from a third-party seller, and for a fraction of the price than if I bought it from OnePlus directly, look, the watch strap stays on perfectly. No issues at all. A few other things you can do on the smartwatch. So if I swipe down into the toggle section, or I can use the crown, same result, tap on the left there, that pulls out my cards, then tap on it again, and then I can make NFC payments and no issues to report. Alternatively, you can just double press on the crown and that will pull up your cards very easily. If you want to pay for an item using your smartwatch, all you need to do is just press down twice very quickly on the button at the bottom here, and you'll access your card. So just like this, and just like that, your cards will pop up and you are ready to pay. So if I just go back in here again, and if I tap on this one here, I can choose to stay in the smart mode or go into the power saving mode. Really simple. One thing to note is if you look at the battery percentage there, it's currently showing 35%. Now, when you go into the power saving mode, you do not get the battery percentage, which is a little bit strange and sometimes can be a little bit misleading. So it's something to keep in mind there. All right, so let's come out of here. And naturally, if you want to pull up your workouts, really simple, just press once, the bottom there, and look at that, you have access to your workouts. And look at this, you've got various choices of workouts to choose from. And obviously, the other thing to note is, depending what sports you're playing, say for example, tennis there, you may want to wear the smartwatch on the hand that you play with, so it just tracks everything accurately. So I'm right-handed, so it will be on my right hand. Okay, the watch when I'm playing tennis, and then here, come in here, look at this, just tweak things even further. So I'll give you an example very shortly. Let's just say, ball sports. So look, come in here and look at this. So even within these submenus, you've got a variety of other options to play with. Call quality on this smartwatch is really good, and I can demonstrate that for you, and you would be hoodwinked. However, if you're going to be making and receiving calls when you're outdoors, you're going to struggle, especially with all the background noise, whether it's drilling, traffic, or so forth. And the best way to get around this is what I do, and that is by wearing a pair of earbuds. That way, it eliminates any background noise, especially when you're outdoors. The 60-second health check will measure things like your heart rate, mind and body, sleep, wrist temperature, etc. Let me quickly take you through the smartwatch when it's in the power saving mode, as shown at the bottom there. Okay, so just swipe back. Go back in the toggle section. Now on the far left there, you'll see the battery level, but you do not get the percentage. Now, just before turning it onto the power saving mode, it said 37% in the smart mode. Now, when it's in the power saving mode, you'll think that you have 37% there, but I can tell you from experience, you could come back, say the next day, and you're out of juice. And that leads on to my next point, and that is the moment you put this smartwatch on charge, it will disable the power saving mode and then it will just kick into the smart mode. And once you've finished charging your smartwatch and you've disconnected it, it will go back to the power saving mode. So here, let's quickly take you through the settings menu. Okay, let's go through here. So you get pretty much most of what you get in the smart mode, with just a few exceptions here. So again, shouldn't really be any issues. And the other key thing to note as well is once your smartwatch is in the power saving mode, whenever you receive messages, you will not be able to reply to them. You can see the messages, but you will not be able to reply to them. So again, just something to keep in mind. Just to give you a brief run through of the function of the watch, really simple. If you just swipe along like this, you get your tiles, which you can organize. So have the most important ones to the front, least important towards the back. You can remove, add to tiles, etc. So really versatile. And then if you want specific information on a specific tile, just tap on it like so. And then bezel like that. Look at that. You can gather more information. This is really good. And what I like about this sleep one as well is that even if you sleep, so here, so it shows you, look, when I went to bed yesterday and the time that I woke up today. And even if you sleep for 20 minutes, have a quick nap in the afternoon, it will record it. Yeah, I've got to say, I'm dead impressed. Okay, so you just swipe along like this. Again, if you want more information on something, just tap on it. And then look at that. You can just keep scrolling. Really good. Yeah, I really like this. Okay, if we just come out there, and regardless of whether you swipe to the right or to the left, you will have access to the same information. So again, really neat. I like this.
Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. My name is Sholo. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another episode. Peace.